comment. I want your opinion on this. One of our very loyal YouTube listeners, Alnetta Harrison.
Yeah, Alnetta.
This is her saying this, and I want your reaction. I want Steph to be verbal about how he really feels and not hide behind his squeaky clean image. I love you so much, Steph. God's plan with prayers. I think maybe she wants him to be more
outgoing,
more critical, I guess.
I'm guessing Alnetta wants Steph Curry to be more verbal with Draymond Green and more outgoing in terms of nipping this in the bud. Speaking his mind. And Curry's probably like, you know what? I'm not hiding behind no image. I want this to go away.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make sure that we keep the drama out of our locker room because the Warriors during this championship run have done so much to keep this locker room intact.
But that's just not. It's not in. That's not in Steph's nature. And so, not that he couldn't do it. It would probably feel inauthentic. Like him telling everybody, if you don't even want to get on the bus to play this game, like that was out of body. Well, that was very out of character. Very out of character. Like that is how he reacts. Throwing a mouthpiece is out of character.
Right.
Right. You know, obviously he's a competitor and he's cutthroat when it comes to playing the game, but that's just kind of not who he is. And also, you have to know the source of who you're talking about. Right. Dre wouldn't. I don't know if Dre's going to respond to that. Who knows? Like he might know Dre better than all of us.
Right.
Dre just might not respond to that kind of tactic.
Well, and Steph knows how to get to Draymond Green in a way that Steph can do it. He knows how to get to Draymond Green, but I don't want Steph Curry to be out of character. People want him to be Kobe, Jordan, yelling at people. No, that's not leadership. That's not leadership. You can lead in different ways. But when I look at leadership on this basketball team moving forward, I look at Stephen Curry. I look at Kevon Looney. And I say maybe Klay Thompson. I respect Klay Thompson in the strip short in Greece, going to Moses Moody's basketball camp, embracing the youngsters on his team, which didn't happen last year. And that's what Monty Poole was talking about. Once that punch happened, there was two teams on the team. There was two teams on the Warriors. It was the youngsters and it was the veterans. And it never was connected. And Steve Kerr talked about that over the weekend. He said that. I didn't do a good job of connecting his team and getting them together. And we need to reassess. But I do feel rejuvenated, and I feel like we're going to have a great season. And I think Draymond's tried to do that. When we were talking about that 3 weeks ago, he said, I have done a poor job of trying to get the nose out of the Kuminga. Well, you know what? That's the next step for Draymond Green. You want to be accountable? I respect that. I appreciate that. Now we need to see it. Because I tell you what, I'm tired of talking about the damn punch. I was happy as hell not to be at work last week talking about that damn punch.
Well, I think
it's
overshadowed a lot of the other flaws on the team, and I think that we're thinking that Chris Paul's going to be a fix-all. I think he's going to be a big help. Wiggins being healthy for the majority of the games is going to be crucial.
Yep.
Klay coming in ready to go early in the season is going to be crucial. Having a healthier Steph Curry for a majority of the year is going to be crucial. Draymond Green playing like he did again last year is going to be crucial. Like there's a variety of things that they need. The youngsters having good attitudes, working on rebounding, playing better defense. Those things are going to be crucial. Having that secondary ball handler in Chris Paul who can help facilitate with the second unit, but also in the half-court setting and take pressure off of Steph Curry is going to be crucial. There's like 9 things, and the punch isn't any of them for them to be successful this year. You know what I mean? Like, I know we keep going back to the punch because Drake keeps talking about it, but I keep going. There are like seriously 9 or 10 other things that to me are as important, if not more important, to their success for this year.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are going to be. I think they're going to have a good year. Now,
health
they need to
as they age.
Well, health, yeah, of course, health. I mean, but you know what? They'll be fine. And half the league goes through load management. The Warriors aren't the only team to go through health issues. The Memphis Grizzlies go through injuries. Jerry Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane have been hurt every year.
Well, and they're young. And they don't know if Ja's going to play.
And they're a young team, and they get hurt. They're young. Denver, they may go through some things. Losing Bruce Brown's a big loss for them. You could poo-poo that, but Bruce Brown was very important for them.
But they were very healthy this year.
Very healthy.
And,
we'll see that.
And when you look at the year that they lost to the Warriors in 5 games, I believe it was, or did they sweep them? First round in 2022 was
5 games.
5 games.
5 games, yeah. They didn't have Jamal, and they didn't have
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, so the health it is a part of it.
It is part of it. Lakers, are they going to be healthy? Are the Clippers going to be healthy? So I
don't know what to make of the Lakers.
I kind of know where I look at the team and the personnel, and sure, if they had one more big, that'd be great. But I feel really good about where the Warriors are at right now. I do. Forget all the Draymond stuff. Just looking at the team and looking at what they did with Dario Saric and you brought in Corey Joseph as a backup point guard, and you got Chris Paul here. You got Curry back. Curry's still a top 5 player in this league.
Corey Joseph does it for
Corey
you?
Joseph, he's a veteran. He's a veteran. He's going to take care of the basketball. That's all I want. I want turnovers, man.
No, I don't. I actually don't mind the Corey Joseph thing because you have to understand Steph's not going to play every game, and neither is Chris Paul. So having another competent guy who's going to get minutes, I think it's a smart move, and a veteran guy.
The worst part about the Draymond stuff is that it's overshadowed Curry winning the celebrity contest, Curry's documentary, and actually some of the things the Warriors did in the offseason. I think they're a better team right now than they were a season ago. Right now, they're a better basketball team, and it looks like Chris Paul's motivated. Chris Paul wants a ring. That's what people are, we could talk about all his antics and everything. Oh, how are him and Draymond going to get along in the locker room, blah, 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 blah. Chris Paul going to give you everything he got. That's one thing we know.
I don't think anyone denies that.
That's one thing we know.
I don't think anyone denies that.
So I look at the team on the court. I look at Klay Thompson coming back, hearing all the slander, because, yes, I saw some of the quotes on YouTube. They're listening, Bonte.
What?
In terms of us slandering players, people listening or whatnot. Listen, I told you a long time ago, players listen all the time. They listen all the time. GMs listen. Everybody listens. It's all good if we keep it professional. But Klay has seen some of the stuff. The guy led the league in 3-point makes and is getting slandered like he's a bona fide scrub. So we'll see.
No, the reality is it's in the middle of those two things. Is that he had moments last year where he was amazing, and he had moments where he was really bad. And they need a better version of him, a more efficient version for longer stretches this year. That's all.
Speaking of the doc, what stood out to you?
The Steph Curry doc. Well, number one, man, I subscribe to every freaking outlet. The amount of people that don't have Apple Plus, I think maybe I underrated it because I've heard from a lot of people like, I don't have that. When you buy a new Apple product, you get like a year, 2 years, or whatever for free. So I still have my free one. But anyway, point being is I thought it was really, really well done, but it left me wanting more. It felt more like a Davidson sophomore year climax doc than it felt like a comprehensive multi-part series breaking down Steph Curry, who he is. Did they even bring up golf once in it?
Nah.
But we all know golf is very important to Steph. Did they even bring up, Aisha was very, off to the side. That's very important to him. They didn't have Don Nelson in it. I wanted to hear from Don Nelson. I want to hear from Monte.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of elements. Mark Jackson, I think, would be someone I'd like to listen to.
Yeah, the first 4 years
Klay
of his Warrior career. And no, John, I didn't say MJ and Kobe weren't leaders. I said they were different leaders. They're more boisterous. They're more abrasive.
We didn't get Klay Thompson really outside of him, which I can't watch. Every time I see it, him going up for the Yam and Danny Green and the injury and him falling, I get squeamish watching that every single time. There's so many other people that I would love to have seen been a part of it. I wanted to see him at a younger age, but it was excellent and it was well done. I'm expecting a more comprehensive version when his career's over.
That's the first one. Underrated. It wasn't bad at all. I would like to see a lot more the first 4 years with the ankle injuries and some of the rhetoric that was around him. Is he going to be a bona fide NBA player? Is he going to be able to survive with the ankles? A little much on Davidson, but, for Anna, for example, who didn't know who Steph Curry was before he was to go to State Warriors, she asked me, when did you know about Steph Curry? I said, the Georgetown game, really, because I had Georgetown going to the Final Four in that bracket. And then they beat Gonzaga. He goes crazy. It's all right, it's a cute little story, Dale's son. All right, whatever. Then they beat Georgetown in the way that they did. I was like, oh, this guy's something else. Then they beat Wisconsin in the Sweet 16, and they pushed Kansas to the brink. It was cool. It was probably a little long, but look, man, they're not going to be able to squeeze everything in. Every 30 for 30 I've watched, for the most part, I'm like, man, I wish they would have added this.
Well, the
I wish they
OJ
would have
doc,
added that.
the OJ doc and The Last Dance felt like the two most comprehensive.
Yep. Yeah, you got a lot. Even then, I thought there were some things missing in The Last Dance.
Like what?
That could have been a little more on Pippen, a little more on Dennis Rodman,
a little
more.
To the Larsa Pippen, Michael Jordan.
I will not
podcast.
do that. I will not do that.
And you can get all the Larsa Pippen content you need.
A shame.
I will
it's
not do that.
Larsa
Pippen. Oh, I'm traumatized about Jordan saying what he said. Shut up. Ryan in San Francisco. What's happening?
You have some serious deficiencies.
I did think about Marcus in Richmond in Hawaii, a couple times. Ryan, what's happening?
Nothing, man. I had a thought just running over past my listening to you guys, run across my mind. I'm on the 101. It's like, how much is this driven by Draymond's podcast? I mean, he was podcasting live after games, and not saying the punch was was a part of him trying to get ratings. But the more clicks, the more viewers, just, the Pat Bev stuff, just tweeting. I kind of feel like he wants to be a part of the new media. He wants to drive people to his show. It was just a thought. I'm thinking some of this might be, let me just keep my name popping. I mean, he is Draymond. You're going to get credit based off of that. But also, there's other people who might not be a Draymond.
So you think it's calculated?
His, podcast.
So you're saying that it's calculated?
I'm saying that it would be advantageous for his podcast for him to keep his name on social media and trending.
But I think that's a fair point. But I think the more he talks, it's driving people away from his podcast because a lot of people don't want to hear about that stuff. They just want to watch hoop. They want to hear about hoop. The whole new media thing is, boy, that's jumped the shark. New media. Let's go to Coach Hall. Coach Hall, San Diego, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, fellas. I wanted to mention, so I listen to you guys every morning, and then I'll catch the recording of the Frank Isola show. And as I was listening early this morning, man, we are getting, hammered from just different callers and other media people as Warriors fans because of Draymond's antics. And it's like, man, we not condoning this. We've been putting up with this, for several years, just the way he acts. And, people even bringing up what happened at Michigan State with pushing the guy. And it just made me wonder, is there a veteran big man that can bridge that gap with the young and the old and also keep Draymond in check? Because we don't have a David West. Our veterans are stars now. They've grown into that leadership role. And I just can't help but think, man, when we had D. West, even Bogut to an extent, we didn't hear about it. I'm not sure what was going on in the locker room, but they did a good job of keeping it on hush. Is there anybody out there that you guys can see we could find to kind of, bridge that gap?
Isn't that what Steph, Clay, and Dre, one of them would you would hope mold into?
Yeah, maturity. But David West is different. You'd hope that Draymond Green would have learned those lessons from David West. Obviously, there's a step back, which is why I have seeing Kevon Looney be the captain next season would go a long way.
You bringing back Andre?
I was just going to say, wasn't that the reason you had him on the bench last year? Was that the whole point of him, but it was basically useless? I don't understand what the point of that was.
Yeah, that didn't really help. I don't think that helped. I don't think it helped.
It's a shame. It's embarrassing.
Yes, it is. By the way, training camp opens up on Wednesday. We got David Lombardi coming up at 8:30. Let's talk some Niners. I feel a lot of people get depressed, man. It's hard for people, I think, to focus on basketball when Draymond Green is saying what he's saying. I personally have checked out of what Draymond Green has said, and I'm thinking about the team on the floor. I'm excited about the team on the floor.
Monte, I was at a wedding. It's all the old timers. That's all they could talk about.
I can't.
And they all kept saying the same thing. I don't get the podcast thing, and I get where they're coming from, but they don't understand the young athletes now.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of fans are like, dude, just let it go. And they all say the same thing. You need a crazy person like Draymond. Just stop bringing up something that happened a year ago, Dre.
Well, how much crazy do you want? How much crazy do you want? There's a fine line.
That I agree with.
There's a fine line. By the way, training